I picked up a book. Oh, I ordered a book. I can't remember when exactly this came out, but I was kind of waiting for it for a while. It is Rook Exodus Volume 1. So I'll be getting back to my reviews of Rook Exodus with this book right here, Rook Exodus Volume 1. So look for that in, the coming weeks. I'm not going to say exactly when. I may do one tomorrow, maybe not. But I also, so from the Ripperverse, I got a bunch of books coming in that have not come in yet, but I can't remember what was the last campaign that just wrapped up, because I think I've mentioned this to you guys before. I ordered a bunch of books all at once. And so I've been staying away from all Ripperverse coverage because I don't want any spoilers. So in the group of books that I ordered, let me see. Let me go to my orders. Orders. Damn, internet is taking forever right now. All right. Here's my order right here. I have ISOM number 3, The Great War of Separation 2, Horseman number 1, and Zalen, What Kills Must Die. So those 4 books, when they get in, I can't remember which campaign was the one that just wrapped up, but soon as it delivers, I'm getting all 4 of those books at once. I kind of like this. I like the fact that the Ripperverse has a more accelerated schedule for books to come out, because I can kind of pile all my books up at once. So I ordered all of those books same time. So I was like, all right, when the last one is done with its collection and it starts to fulfill, I'll get all 4 of them. So it's been hard staying away from some of the coverage. I don't know anything about any of those books. If I saw something posted about it, if somebody even began to talk about it, all of the Ripperverse chats I'm in, I've stayed away from everything. So if people haven't seen me, this is the reason why I have been waiting to get my books in before I, get back and interact. Anyway, Rook Exodus, I'll be getting back to that. Star Trek. Now, I'm going to tell you, I have novice views of Star Trek because I was never a Trekkie. I thought Star Trek was boring personally. The original show, even though I watched it as a kid, I watched it. Some of the episodes are just boring and it was slow for me. Obviously, I didn't watch it when it first aired. I wasn't live, but I watched Star Trek. But I wasn't really, it wasn't one of those shows that I was like, oh man, I gotta watch it. Now, as time went on and other shows were created, obviously things got a little more interesting. But I saw this article on comicbook.com and I was like, I think this is something the Trekkies in my audience would be interested in. Now, I did not read the article in advance. I may read this article and go, I don't know about this. Now, I was going to say, one of the Star Trek shows that I liked, and I know you guys are going to kill me in the comments for this. I liked, Star Trek Discovery, Season 1. Season 1 of Star Trek Discovery, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed. The other seasons after that, it got a little... I felt like maybe the plot was going in too many different directions. Maybe they didn't know exactly where they were going to go. But I like Star Trek Discovery Season 1. I was like, this show is great. It was more action-oriented, which I particularly love, just like all of the new Star Trek movies. Star Trek Into the Darkness, Star Trek Beyond. All of those last couple Star Trek movies, for me, they interested me more than what I had seen from Star Trek before. Now, I know there's going to be someone in the comments that'll say, you got to watch this series or you got to watch that series. A lot of the series I tried to watch and it just didn't grab my imagination like I thought it would have. Now, maybe I need to go back and try to watch these again. I may find out that, oh, no, you know what? I actually love these shows. But anyway, let's get to this article from comicbook.com. Star Trek is resurrecting Captain Kirk for a new series set after Picard. What do you guys think about this? Especially for the people out there that are Trekkies. What I want to know what you think about this, because you're going to be the authority. You're going to be the crowd that says, oh no, we like this, or maybe we don't like it. So let's see what this article has to say. William Shatner, Captain Kirk, is back from the dead in a new Star Trek series. Fans saw Captain Kirk die back in 1994, Star Trek Generations, but there's always been a lingering feeling that he would eventually be brought back. Picard revealed that Starfleet has Kirk's body in stasis, so there's been speculation that he could return in another series down the line. That time has come, but instead of it happening in a live action series on Paramount Plus, this Captain Kirk focused project comes from an IDW publishing comic book. And this may be good. Like I said, this is for all my Trekkies out there. What do you think about this? I didn't realize when I was growing up reading comic books. I mean, I was primarily the big three: DC, Marvel, and Image. More Marvel and Image, less DC. I love Batman. The rest of DC really didn't grab me. But I didn't realize how many sci-fi series and shows had comic books. I just honestly did not know. To my discredit, I did not know. Star Trek: The Last Starship is written by Collin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing, with art by Adrian Bonilla. Is this person Brazilian? If so, my goodness, Brazilians are crushing it. The comic takes place during the burn, a galaxy-wide disaster. And you know what's funny? I'm glad this is a comic book and not a show, because William Shatner is like really old. There's no doubt he would do well on camera. I have no doubt in that. But just putting yourself through that at his age, I'm like, man, let that man chill. Doing this in a comic book or even in an animated series, I think that would work as well. Or like they did in the movies, just do some stories about a young Kirk. I didn't mind that at all. I kind of like those. Like I said, like those movies. The comic takes place during the burn, a galaxy-wide disaster that caused the destruction of every active warp core, killing trillions and shattering the peace, stability, enlightenment, and mutual protection the United Federation of Planets provided for 7 centuries. Facing a true Wild West in space, a mysteriously resurrected Captain Kirk will lead a new crew and ship in a seemingly impossible effort to uphold Starfleet's mission of unity across the cosmos. It would appear that Star Trek: The Last Starship takes place in the centuries between Picard and Star Trek Discovery Season 3, since later seasons of the latter are set in the far future and deal with the ramifications of the burn. So you see, of course, the book right here, Star Trek: The Last Starship. Okay. I might pick this up. It may be that reading this in comic book format might give me a respect for Star Trek that I didn't get otherwise. It was just one of those things that didn't really grab me. I don't know of many geeks that don't like Star, and it's not like I dislike Star Trek. Again, I just wasn't the biggest fan. But maybe it's like what was it? A show I just mentioned the other day that really got me the second time around. I'll think about it later. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, I don't know why I didn't like this. I was bugging. Sometimes that happens. You grow, what you like or don't like changes, and you realize, hey, I didn't give this a good enough chance. This is actually dope. Okay, so forget everything you know about Star Trek, Lansing said. The Last Starship is a new crew, a new era, and a completely different tone. Our aim is to be literary, intense, innovative, and most of all, accessible. We're bringing you into the Federation's darkest hour through the brilliant, noir-soaked lens of artist Adrian Bonilla, with zero homework required. I like that. I like when something like this takes to the approach that we want to do this for people who love Star Trek, and also for those who know nothing about Star Trek. They can start from this point having no previous knowledge. Now, obviously, there'll be references and things that you won't get, but hopefully we'll see how this pans out. He added, longtime Trek fans will have a deep and fascinating reading experience. To be sure, this is a pivotal moment in Trek history that's never been even glimpsed before. But above all, The Last Starship is a dark and complex sci-fi you can hand to anyone. We've spent the last 8 years celebrating all that Trek has ever been. Now it's time to rebuild it from scratch and discover all it can be. And I do, like I said, like the fact that they're doing this in comic book format. When I first started this article, when I saw that, like I said, I didn't read it in advance. I thought it was a show. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised and pleased that it's actually done in comic book format. And it looks like, is it going to be mostly black and white or color? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. The only familiar face is the one you'd never expect to see in this era. Captain James T. Kirk, stated co-writer Kelly, William Shatner's iconic performance transcends borders. Kirk is one of the great characters of the modern fiction canon, with a timeless actor to match. And I have to agree, even though Star Trek is one of those things that, even though I wasn't the biggest fan, I didn't dislike it, I just wasn't the biggest fan, I recognize that this thing is, it's a monster in the sci-fi industry. Expansive lore, movies and TV shows for days, tons of books. Like, it's definitely great. You cannot deny that. He was also the first Trek character we ever wrote a leader and warrior poet. He was also the first Star Trek character we ever wrote, a leader and warrior poet with boundless tragedy and contradiction. Now, we were honored to be taking this character into truly uncharted, groundbreaking territory in the Last Starship. As the Federation's greatest pioneer, must face down the inferno that threatens to consume his entire legacy. Star Trek The Last Starship joins 3 more Star Trek limited series launching this year from IDW. Those are Star Trek Red Shirts, Star Trek Strange New World, The Seeds of Destruction, and Star Trek Voyager Homecoming. Now, I don't know anything about any of these. So Star Trek fans, Trekkies, you're going to have to let me know in the comments what you think about this. Good thing, bad thing. I don't know much about the writers. So maybe somebody can clue me in on some other things that they've written before. Maybe that'll give an idea or an indication of how good and or maybe not good this will be. Who knows? But I thought when I saw this, I was like, this is probably some good and somewhat exciting news for Star Trek fans, people who are really about that Star Trek life. So what do you think? Excited about this? Is this going to be good? I think having more things in comic book format, I think there's a lot more you can do, a lot more you can explore. And I think there are certain guardrails that are sometime on cinema that you don't have in comic books. And for the same reason, this is why novels work so well sometime, and movies maybe not as well as the novel as far as the story, because you really don't have limitations when it comes to comic books and books outside of time. That's really the only limitation. How much time do you need to get this thing put together and put out and done with good quality.